Hello everybody, unless you have been living under a rock, you've heard about this app called Robinhood, which is a stock buying app, and how a bunch of people who were in a Reddit group got onto this app and sent the GameStop, which is a retailer of video games, the GameStop stock through the roof in order to destroy some hedge funds and have a little bit of fun, perhaps even cause a little bit of chaos. Well, in reaction to this group of online guys and girls buying this GameStop stock, sending it through the roof, the app Robinhood, which billed itself as bringing democracy to the markets, decided to close down the buying of that app in order to stop the market rush and the market volatility. Every day there are new developments in this story. It's very interesting, very crazy. This is a peculiar circumstance within the stock market. Today I'm going to talk to you about whether or not the app itself, Robinhood, the company, is going to face lawsuits, what those lawsuits are, and what chance they have of surviving. Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in. I'm Joe Pometto, Joe the lawyer. I'm a Pittsburgh attorney. Here I analyze legal news, the news, look at law stuff, and have a little bit of fun. If you like my show, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Those are free ways to support the show. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm in the 850s. Get me a subscribe. Send the link to your friend. Have your friend subscribe. Free way to support the show. It lets YouTube know that people are watching. Get me monetized at 1,000. Before we start, also, I brought a little tradition to the show. It's called the Same Time Sip. Did you know that when you drink a beverage with someone, when you cheers that beer or whatever it is, it tastes better when you sip together? Here on this show, because I'm not much of an alcohol drinker, though I do partake once in a while, my drink of choice is Diet Coke. Whatever drink you have handy, raise it in the class. Cheers with me. It tastes better when we sip together. Cheers. Delicious. Okay, so let's set the stage. What happened here? There is this company called GameStop, all right? I've been into a GameStop recently, right? 10, 20 years ago, when everybody bought video games, you had to buy an actual disc. Shoot, back in my day, you had to buy a cartridge, right? Remember Atari and Nintendo? The cartridge is gone. The discs are gone. Nowadays, you download the video games, all right? Or you can just order them off the internet. So GameStop is sort of like this dying retailer. They are a retailer in the store. They sell video games. I went into a GameStop within the last year, and they were selling more trading cards, stuffed animals, and action figures than video games. Anyway, the stock has been dying. What happens when a stock starts to die? The hedge funds and the Wall Street pros, they short sell a stock. I didn't fully understand how short selling works. I looked into it a little bit, and basically what happens is if a person wants to short sell, they borrow a stock. They borrow a stock at a certain price, and then when the stock falls, okay, they sell it back to the person or individual that they borrowed it off of at the same price that it was originally. So they're going to make the difference between what the price they borrowed it at and the amount that it fell. So if they borrowed $100 stock and the stock fell $70, okay, when they sell the stock back, when they give the stock back, they're getting $30. They're making that difference between 100 and 70. What happens to the short trader is if the stock doesn't fall, okay, if the stock doesn't fall, they're responsible. That $100, if it goes up to $170, $250, $300, they're responsible for the difference in the rise in the price, to the party that they borrowed it from. So if a short seller buys a stock and the stock doesn't go down, it only goes up, they take a huge loss. So what was happening to GameStop? It's sort of a dying company. Hedge funds were short selling it, and there is this group on Reddit. I believe it's called Wall Street Beats. Don't quote me, okay? Wall Street Beats, and all these people on Reddit. And the people on this link, they're buying and selling stocks on Robinhood. These are internet masters, right? And also probably big time gamers. So what happened here? They're on this Wall Street Beats website. They're buying stocks on this new app, Robinhood, which this is going to really focus on. They're buying stocks on Robinhood. They're almost, in a way, turning the buying and selling of stocks into a video game. And this is going to be the future, people. This is going to be the future, right? I buy my stocks online. Most people buy stocks online. 30, 40, 50 years ago, it was a whole different world. You had to call a broker, right? Did you watch The Wolf of Wall Street? It's a different world to buy and sell stocks. Now you take out the middleman, or the middleman is an app. Anyway, these video gamers, internet people, are buying and selling stocks like video games. They learn, some of them that get very much into the stock market, realize that that GameStop is being shorted by the big time hedge funds, the Wall Street people. And this store likely has sentimental value. It was sort of like a perfect storm to start this idea. Now they're doing it to all kinds of different stocks, but this GameStop had sentimental value to them. So they brought their collective might together, said, hey, everybody, let's buy this stock. Okay, it's almost a twofer for them, actually a threefer. We're gonna save GameStop, okay, even though it's a dying business model, most likely, I don't know. But we're gonna save GameStop. We are maybe going to make some money if we all jump on board and shoot the stock up. And number three, we're going to take out these hedge funds. We're going to crush them, okay? And remember, and here's the craziest thing. This Robinhood site, which makes it super easy to buy and sell stocks with no fee, right? And the reason this couldn't happen, or was so much harder 30 years ago, is you had to call a broker on the phone. A stock transaction, unless you were in New York City on the floor of the stock exchange or had connections, okay, it took time. It took time, right? You couldn't just buy, sell, boom, boom, boom. Now things are so fast with the internet, okay? It's a wonder that this didn't happen 5 or 10 years ago, because the online selling and trading of stocks has been going on for a while. It's kind of like this perfect storm, and this, you can look at this as sort of a wake-up call. We're going to be in a whole new world when it comes to the stock market. So what happens? These people, they go boom, boom, boom. They start buying this GameStop because of the buy. It shoots through the roof, because when more and more people buy a stock, okay, the value goes up because it looks like a good investment. Plus, the company is being flushed with money, so it's shooting up through the roof. And all these, remember what I told you about short sellers? If you buy a stock, if you short sell a stock at like $100, you only make money if it goes down. Okay, you only make money if it goes down. If it goes up, you lose all that difference, right? So you can lose an infinite amount of money when you short sell, but you can only make as much money if it's $100 and the stock drops to zero. You can only make $100. So these internet gamers on Reddit start shooting this stock up through the roof. These hedge funds are losing billions of dollars. What happens? What happens? The third party, the app itself, Robinhood, steal from the rich, give to the poor. Okay, Robinhood turns into the sheriff of Nottingham, and boom, they shut down the transactions. They shut it down. What they did was they locked it so that these people who were buying it could no longer buy any more of the GameStop stock. You could sell it, but you couldn't buy it, okay? And bang, they protected Wall Street. They stopped the bleeding. Likely this guy who's the owner, I can't remember his name right now, got all these calls from hedge funds. Ring, 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 ring. Apparently, they make most of their money, because here's the thing, Robinhood is a no-fee charge service. They make most of their money through the hedge funds. The hedge funds, they sell their data to hedge funds, and then hedge funds use that data to make their own trades and help their own customers. How crazy is that? So these hedge fund people who are likely funding Robinhood say, dude, stop it, cut it out. Boom, they listened, they stopped it, and they cut it out. So at this point, you're probably wondering, why is Joe the lawyer talking about this? Why am I hearing about this on this show? Well, because when Robinhood stopped that trading, okay, it cost a lot of people a lot of money, right? These traders, the buyers, all right, they were knocking out the hedge funds, and then boom, Robinhood pauses the buying of the stocks. They didn't pause the selling, but they paused the buying of the stocks. So all these gamers, everybody on Reddit was buying, boom, they got stopped, and they lost a bunch of money, potentially, right? They lost a bunch of money. Their freedom was shut down, first of all, which is hilarious coming from a company that said that they were going to democratize the buying and selling of stocks. Anyway, these people lost a whole bunch of money. So you're hearing about this on Joe the lawyer because you know what's coming, lawsuits. These people who lost money, boom, they are going to strike back. So the first question is, have there been any lawsuits filed? Yes. The last I checked on the internet, I believe there's been over 10, maybe as many as 20 lawsuits already filed against Robinhood. So what's going on here? Well, a bunch of attorneys, all these people who were damaged, were probably calling up lawyers. These lawyers answered the phone. They said, boom, we're going to get on this. Bang, bang, bang. They filed some class action lawsuits right away. All right. And with class action lawsuits, it's pretty typical for lawyers to try to jump in and file them as soon as possible. Why is that, you ask? That's because class actions are lawsuits where one lawyer or one law firm will represent a whole bunch of people who will band together to bring a single lawsuit, right? So you can have thousands of people, an entire class of people that were damaged, bringing a single lawsuit. And there's generally a race to the courthouse because the judges have to certify a class. And they're only going to approve so many of these lawsuits, so many class action lawsuits, maybe only a couple or a handful of them. So all these attorneys jumped in. There's 20 of them filed right away. Only a couple of them will even get past the phase where they get class certification. And that's why lawyers generally race. They're going to try to cover every claim, get down there, file it as soon as possible. And if they're the first one, the first and the best, they have the best chance of getting certified. So that's why you see these lawsuits filed immediately, even though they likely have many months, even years, to file these lawsuits. So the next question is, why are we seeing class action? Why are we seeing these class action lawsuits? Well, you may have thought about this already. That's because Robinhood has covered their butts. Robinhood has covered their butts, right? We're talking about, I don't know how this company started. Apparently, it's been around a long time. They have their own lawyers. They're fairly sophisticated. What did they do to protect themselves? Yes, they had all of their clients, their buyers, these Reddit people, whoever, sign terms of service and contracts with them. Sign terms of service and contracts. And these contracts are going to protect them in two primary ways. Number one, they're going to have arbitration clauses in there. An arbitration clause is a contract where the parties lock themselves into dispute resolution. And that dispute resolution takes place by arbitration outside of a regular courtroom, outside of the regular court process, all right? And if you sign it and the company signs it, boom, you can't take your case directly into court. You can't sue them before a judge in a local courthouse. Why do companies do this? And this is common practice amongst large companies and employers, because these companies don't want to face a jury. They also don't want to face perhaps a judge who is not favorable to their side of things. But they really don't want to face a jury. If a jury jury hears a case like this, they're not going to side with the Wall Street stock firm. They're going to side with the individual person who got screwed over. So they're going to imagine there's going to be a whole bunch of bias. And you never know with a jury, right? They awarded a woman who was burned at McDonald's millions of dollars. They could award someone like this tens of millions of dollars. So what do these companies do? They cover their butts. When you signed up for that Robinhood service, you signed an arbitration clause, which means that instead of going to the courthouse, you can still bring your legal dispute, but you and the company are going to hire an arbitrator, a neutral third party who's like a lawyer or a retired judge. That person's going to hear the case and decide what happens. That's it. You don't get to go to the jury. So that's one way these companies, not just stock brokerage firms, okay, all companies will protect themselves by putting an arbitration clause in. These class action lawsuits that we're seeing, usually those cannot be forced into arbitration. So class action is a way to get around the arbitration clause and make it feasible for people to actually bring these lawsuits in a court of law on an individual basis. Okay, one person suing, they're going to end up fighting in an arbitration, likely getting their butts kicked, perhaps losing, not getting nearly as much money as they probably would in the court of law. Number two, the way they protect themselves in these terms of service is likely by making you sign a term and condition that allows the broker to shut down your account or gives them a wide degree of discretion in dealing with your account. And that's put in there for a whole bunch of reasons. Perhaps they think that you're misusing it for one reason or another. Not generally a situation like this, because like I said before, in many ways this is unprecedented. But for a situation like this, perhaps it gives them a great degree of control over your account, which would even allow them to terminate your account completely. So if they just lock you from buying more of a single stock, and remember, they didn't stop these people's ability to sell the stock. They did not do that. They only said that you can no longer buy the stock. All right, they said you can still sell it. And so even the way they froze things here was limited. That protects them perhaps a little bit more. But all of these buyers and sellers on here likely already signed over their rights, gave Robinhood permission to do exactly what they did. So that's going to be an uphill battle. That's something they're going to have to climb over here in these lawsuits. Remember, Robinhood, they got their own attorneys. They know what they're doing. They're sophisticated. So another interesting part of the legal process of this, and this may be the best argument made on behalf of the parties who were damaged, the plaintiffs, is that Robinhood violated their fiduciary duty. As a stockbroker, they have what's called a fiduciary duty to protect the financial interests of their clients, and generally that means allowing clients to execute a buy or a sale at the highest possible price in order to maximize their financial profit. So that's an interesting argument that I believe the plaintiff's attorneys here will likely make. However, there's a strange twist on that, because the fiduciary duty basically says that the fiduciary, which in this case will be Robinhood, just has to protect the financial interests of the client. Robinhood may argue that they were protecting the financial interests of their client by locking them from buying more of the stock. How does that argument fly? Well, they're going to say they were protecting these people from market volatility. And that just may be crazy enough that a judge will buy it or a jury will buy it. So that's an interesting twist, the fiduciary duty here, and sort of a reverse fiduciary duty argument. Robinhood's going to say, look, we were protecting them. We were protecting them. Who knows what the market was going to do at that point? So we stopped them from buying more. They could still sell. This is what was actually in their best financial interest. So in a lot of ways, Robinhood, such a funny name here. Robinhood turns into the sheriff of Nottingham. Give to the rich, or steal from the rich and give to the poor. Now they're stealing from the poor to protect the rich. And you know why? Because as I believe I said earlier, they make their money from the hedge funds. They sell all their fees. They don't charge fees in the transactions. How a lot of brokers make money, okay? They sell their data to the hedge funds. This company is already bought and sold by the hedge funds. And it's funny because this company facilitated the destruction or the huge walloping of certain hedge funds. Very funny, but no surprise how they acted here. There can't be any surprise how they acted. The hedge funds are, in fact, their biggest clients. So, on a legal basis, yeah, people rushed in, filed these lawsuits against Robinhood. They had to do the class actions because they were already knocked out of individual lawsuits by an arbitration clause. On top of that, all these people suing likely already gave Robinhood the right to do exactly what they did. On top of that, Robinhood's going to argue that they were acting in the fiduciary best interest of their clients. So these lawsuits may go nowhere. Maybe there's some creative arguments out there that I haven't seen, which will allow a couple of them to slip through. And perhaps in the most likely scenarios, these lawsuits will open the front door and then Robinhood will settle them for a reasonable sum because they don't want the continued publicity of lawsuits. They want this thing to go away. All right, the attorneys make some money, the people make some money, and this thing gets put to bed. That's a very likely scenario. I think you'll see a bunch of these lawsuits settled and a bunch of them knocked out. Robinhood's likely protected their position to a very high degree. However, watch the stock market in years to come. It's a whole different game now. In fact has been democratized because everybody can buy and sell on the internet. Again, I'm surprised this didn't happen years ago. It took this long for something like this to happen. So we'll see how the market adjusts, and then the internet and the market. It's going to be a lot of sword fighting here. It's going to be fascinating in the next couple of years. However, these lawsuits probably aren't going to go too far. And even though what Robinhood did may be seen as wrong, it likely was not illegal in a civil sort of way, even though all the politicians are ganging up on them. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Joe the Lawyer. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Get me subscriptions. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Excuse me. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a great day.